We're at the Anglesea Lookout. I'm Gail and I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favourite spring flowering wildflowers. Before showing you the wildflowers, I thought we'd take a minute to enjoy the view. We've got Point Road Night to the south and Point Addis to the east. When we go walking in the bush, it's really important to keep onto the tracks. Not only is there a likelihood that we could be damaging fragile plants, our shoes can be carrying the spores of a disease called Phytophthora dieback, and that is absolutely lethal to the indigenous plants of the heathland. This reserve is an example of a coastal heathland. It may be small in area, but it is certainly big in environmental value. Well over 100 plant species, including many orchids, have been recorded here. Notice the windswept, densely interwoven plant growth. This provides habitat and a source of food for a diverse range of many animal species, including the spiny spider. Eastern grey kangaroos are seen regularly, particularly during the winter. ANGAIR members have recorded many bird sightings, including the elusive rufous bristlebird and the singing honeyeater. Known as the Loveridge Lookout, it was built in 1938 by Bertha Loveridge as a memorial to James, her husband. During the Second World War, it was used as an aircraft monitoring post by 56 local volunteers. The dedication of these locals, who manned the post continuously for 3 years, was recently commemorated with the inclusion of the lookout onto the Victorian Heritage Register. You will not be surprised to hear that this delightful wildflower that resembles a candle is in fact known as creamy candles. And would you believe, if you have a look at the flower spike and go up to the tip, you can even see a dark area that resembles a wick. I just love the way these creamy candles cover large swathes across the heath. They really are delightful. The Silky Guinea flower is a plant that just does not want to be missed. These gorgeous bright yellow flowers are such a contrast against the dark green, soft, silky leaves. These delightful flowers are known as milkmaids, and you'll often see them growing in a clump or a cluster like this. They're recognised by the fact that the flowers are held on terminal spikes and they're actually an umbel. That one's a really good example of the umbel. Another way of recognising these milkmaids is the fact that they have two strappy grass-like leaves coming from the base. There are quite a few different peas growing in our district. Their flowers are often referred to as egg and bacon flowers. The grey parrot pea is the first to flower, generally in late winter. As you look around the reserve, you will find quite a few grey parrot peas flowering at the moment. One of the most recognisable everlastings in our heath is this button everlasting. It's actually got a secret. It looks like it's a single flower, but in actual fact, if you look really closely, you'll see that this flower head is made up of many, many tiny little flowers called florets. This is the reason why you often see so many hoverflies and native bees hovering and clustering around the surface of these flowers, because they're after the nectar and pollen that the flowers produce. What we have here is the hedge wattle. Now, I know it's not everyone's favourite plant, but it just happens to be mine, one of mine anyway. Why I like it is the fact that it's incredibly bushy, and it certainly is prickly, but this habit, this bushy growth and the golden balls, the wattles, are just delightful. The other reason I love it is the fact that it offers a fabulous refuge for small birds. What we have here is a seriously prickly but seriously delightful plant. It's the Western Furze Hakea. And when you have a close look at these flowers, you can appreciate how many there are on a spike. It's just gorgeous. Not only that, I can smell the nectar, and this makes this plant wonderful for nectar feeding birds, as well as so many of the insects that are out after the nectar. What we're looking at here is a small she oak. These are really fascinating plants. You would think that these are the leaves, but in actual fact, these are the little branchlets. The leaves are scales, and they're arranged in a ring, a tiny ring, around each of the branchlets. Small she oaks are either male or female, and we can tell that this is a female because of the cones. And the cones have actually developed from those flowers that you can see over there, the red fluffy flowers. Well, I've left my all-time favourite heathland plant until the very last. So what we're looking at here is the propeller plant. So no prizes for working out why this plant has been called the propeller plant. It's all about these gorgeous flowers that flower for such a long period over spring and well into summer. If you look closely at the flowers, you'll see that they're made up of these 3 white floral leaves, and tucked in the middle is a cluster of tiny little flowers. So in actual fact, this is a head of flowers. The reason I really love these plants is that they're so well adapted to a site like this, which is windswept and so open. They've got this growth that sort of is dense and low and intertwines with itself and with other heathland plants. I really like the thought that a visiting bandicoot might actually come in here and feel incredibly safe in this dense, low-growing, thicket-like plant. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you've had as much fun as I have.